Hi, Kendra Ruth here to answer one of your questions about midlife crisis and your marriage. Today we have Wanda, a left behind and forward moving spouse. Her bomb drop was January of 2021, so it hasn't quite been a year at this time. Her husband is an at-home MLCer, meaning he has not yet moved out or done a move out, back in, move out, back in. And he's a low energy wallower. She says, my husband knows that honesty is very important to me. So on Tuesday, he came and told me that he started talking to someone at work and he has thoughts of sleeping with her. I thanked him for his honesty, and then I gave him an option. He has to end it or leave. He said, my feelings have changed, so I told him now he couldn't stay with me because I don't think that's appropriate. Right or wrong thing to do? He slept in a different room, but he kept texting me as normal and saying, we're family, we're friends, and he invited me for a walk in the woods tomorrow. What should I do? So the walk in the woods is already passed. So the question isn't quite being answered in that timely of a manner. But what should you do in this type of circumstance? So a few questions first. When you said you gave him the option to leave or to go, did that mean leave the house or leave the bedroom at that night, not being able to share a room? And because that's an important distinction, because when you put that kind of boundary, I really want it to be, you're not allowed to live here. And I'm also really glad that you thanked him for the honesty, because we all feel honesty is important to us, and it's not going to matter. In MLC, they're still going to lie. And so you have a very unique circumstance at this point in MLC where he came and he told you this. And that means you have a very good relationship. He feels safe talking to you. You've done a great job with that. Do your best to keep it up, but as an affair starts or as affair is going on, that may change, not because you do anything wrong, but then he has some other bug in his ear telling him things. Or he gets other non-alienator bugs in their ear, like his other friend saying, well, you're cheating on her. Or, you can't trust her anymore. With the woman scorned. And he's going to start to doubt sometimes. I'm not guaranteeing that, but they're going to plant seeds of doubt, and they might not mean to do anything with malice. An alienator could be meaning malice, but those friends, well, they've been through this and they've seen it happen, so they're just giving warnings, and it's not a bad thing to do. So should you have done this? Yeah, I think that's a good idea. You're still very early in, so you don't have to, or you could wait until it actually happens and then say, you either leave on your own right now. You can say, you're not doing anything with her now. Once you do something with her, you decide to, you get out. Or I don't mind that you do it now, as long as you keep it a hard, fast rule. But at the same time, this is why this is, even I'm sounding wishy-washy, and I'm sorry about that, but standing is a tightrope. Because one little move over and you're on the doormat. It happens, and you pick yourself back up and get off the doormat. But you're going to wobble and you're going to fall sometimes. Sometimes you fall onto the side of too strict. Sometimes you fall on the side of the doormat. And sometimes you're amazingly doing the perfect balance. So I like that you would go walking in the woods and doing things together, because I want that foundation being continued to be built. But I don't want it to be very much. If he's willing to do talks, and I get the feeling he probably is. Since he's feeling safe with you, he's probably not the unemotional stoic that some are, where they're just clammed up. If he has those, see how it goes. I always warn of being wary, or rather than wary, be aware, and if it starts to go awry, steer it back or stop that conversation. But it doesn't mean you don't have to have deep conversations. The ones who don't have deep conversations are the ones whose MLCers won't go there. The ones who do have deep conversations are more like clinging boomerangs. And I'm not saying that happens with all of them, but they eventually reconcile. Not all of them, but people who reconcile eventually is what I mean. Have some of those conversations, not all the time, not often, but occasionally. We let them in. We become vulnerable. So you're going to have to strike right now, because it's the early days. You're going to need to strike a balance between still doing things to build the foundation with him. Rebuild, shore up that foundation of you, such as the walk in the woods. But then once you notice, because my husband said that there was a girl. Once he finally did, but I would know they were together because he wouldn't be with me anymore. And he had a plan to move out at a certain time. And I didn't have the support and knowledge, and I probably wouldn't have kicked him out anyway. I was trying hard to spend this time building that. And that was a lot sooner in your crisis than you're almost a year in. I was only a few weeks in. But I wasn't about to kick him out because I knew I only had this little bit of time. And then he was going to be gone, and that affair was going to go real. It was going to become physical. When the affair becomes physical, how will you know? Chuck told me, you'll know. You'll know because I won't be with you anymore. And what he meant was clear. He didn't have to say it. He meant he would not be having sex with me. He wouldn't be initiating, and I wasn't going to offer. Once that was the vibe was there. And it was clear. He was right. He denied it at that point. So how will you know? Does your husband have a way of saying, okay, you know what? I'm with this person now. When that happens, I need you to let him know a few things. And you can do it beforehand. I don't want him only to know that it's not appropriate for him to be at home with you. I want him to know that it's not appropriate, no matter what, to be having this affair. Now, you have to draw a fine line between that being judgmental because he feels safe with you. So you say, I understand. I realize that you have feelings for other people right now and you don't feel the same about me. But having a relationship with me is not something you get to do when you're having relations with other people because I'm your wife. And I went in this for the long haul. I went in this till death do us part. And I'm not going to change that. Now, maybe that's not how you feel. So write it in words that you feel. But you're going to point out this, whatever you do, you're not doing it. You're not leaving here with my blessing. You're being kicked out. You're not having a legitimate relationship with this other person. It's infidelity. So I understand what you're feeling, and that you have these urges. But I want you to also understand that following through on these urges, just because you have the urge doesn't make it right or acceptable. It's still cheating, adultery, and infidelity. And I'm still going to love you. And I will forgive you. But you're going to have to make a lot of amends. And then I want both of you walking into this with eyes wide open. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to, but I want that. Wouldn't that be nice? So, yeah, you're doing the right thing. But for a little while it's not quite there yet, you can be a little bit looser with some of the boundaries. Go for a walk with him. Talk to him. Listen to him. Be that empathetic ear. I don't know if that was clear, because it's not clear. Sometimes the things you need to do, because it's such a back and forth, and you do this for a while, and then you're not allowed to do it. So it might be confusing. But just keep asking questions, keep listening, and keep up with support groups. And I will see you in the next Facebook Live and in the next questions. Thanks.